Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I take it probably nobody got freaking sent over here because I sure shit didn't. But you know, fuck YouTube. Good way to start. So let's say hello to everybody and we'll get right into the news tonight. Dog Mama, hello, hello. Bad Deza, hello, sir. Yes. What's up, D's? Wait, has started in streaming working. I think I saw another comment. We did have a SpaceX stream, so I'd never dump you, Digger. You know that. Linda, hello, hello. Yeah, we did one, started one prior. Sorry. YouTube literally hates me. So I put up a short the other day, and there were a bunch of us in Discord, and I know for a fact that, oh, shit, Ozzy got one. Did you get one to the previous stream, though, that I just did 5 minutes ago? That I redirected to my own shit, and it didn't work? So that's always beautiful. So we just so I just did a SpaceX CRS 29 stream. So I put up a short the other day, and I know several of us watched it, and it said one person watched it. So YouTube is really, and last night people couldn't find the stream either with the debate. If you didn't get a chance to take that one in, and want to piss yourself off, go for that, because that would be fun. But unfortunately, we just have to deal with YouTube. They're never gonna change. They're legitimately never gonna change a damn thing. So it's frustrating, but you know, happens. So all right. So let's get right into what we got going on here, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting off hot. Hot. 70 Republicans voted to reward and weaponize FBI with a new $300 million headquarters, larger than the Pentagon. So they tell you that they, oh yeah, probably. Probably. So we'll listen to what Congressman Gates has to say about this. But they tell you one thing, oh, FBI's bad, blah, 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 and overwhelmingly vote to authorize a $300 million FBI headquarters that will have increased and expanded powers and make our lives worse for things like YouTube. And if you don't think the FBI is fucking with YouTube, then you haven't been paying attention.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The FBI wants a massive new complex for their Washington, D.C. area-based activities. They want to spend more than $300 million on that complex. Though the FBI has an employee base that's about 2.3% of the United States military, Mr. Speaker, they're literally asking for something that is larger than the Pentagon for the FBI. And so my amendment would disallow any planning, spending, distribution of funds for that purpose. I don't believe that the FBI deserves a massive new headquarters or Washington field office. The activities inside of Washington, the greater Washington metro area, have really driven a lot of the investigative work we have done. It's not bad folks from the FBI out at some field office in middle America or elsewhere in the country. It is the Washington, D.C. based activities that have pressured other field offices for no good law enforcement reason. It's the D.C. based entities that have suppressed credible investigative leads into criminal conduct over the objections of other bureaus and offices. And they've initiated investigations into American citizens merely for engaging in constitutionally protected speech. They've attempted to entrap members of the United States Senate by holding false classified briefings. That's testimony we got from Senators Grassley and Senator Johnson. They've also worked hard to censor factual information harmful to their preferred political candidates, notably the Hunter Biden laptop story that the FBI based in the D.C. metro area were involved in cajoling censorship of. Building a new headquarters would condone, reinforce, and enable the Washington field office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's nefarious behavior. We shouldn't do it, and we should adopt this amendment to ensure that's the case. I reserve.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and my thanks to the minority side for giving me an opportunity to speak. I rise in opposition to the gentleman from Florida's amendment.
Of course you do.
We're not always going to hate the FBI. But what I do know is that when I toured the FBI headquarters, I saw it in a state of disrepair that is going to need the attention of the owners of that
like
property.
30 minutes.
And that's us. The fact is the building is crumbling, and there's going to be a need to do something. What that something is, I'm not an expert on. But I think it would be wrong for us to be taking this action today, pursuant to this amendment, without having at least a hearing and an opportunity for the people responsible for the facilities, FBI, GSA, any other stakeholder, to be able to help us understand what the situation is today and what the needs are of tomorrow.
Gentleman from Wisconsin reserves. Gentleman from Florida is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, it is not my grave concern that the FBI's building is crumbling. It is my grave concern that the civil liberties of Americans are crumbling. And I wish we were more worried about that and less worried about whether or not we got new carpet and wallpaper at the FBI building. My colleague from Arkansas says that the FBI headquarters is in a state of disrepair. Mr. Speaker, it is the FBI itself that is in a state of disrepair. And so while my colleague from Arkansas may be right that we may not always hate the FBI, how about while we are most concerned about the things they are doing, we not go build them a new $300 million building? My colleague says there needs to be a hearing. Well, let me tell you about the hearing that mattered to me, and frankly, many of my Democrat colleagues who are also worried about civil liberties. The hearing where we learned that the FBI has conducted over 278,000 illegal queries on the FISA system, or the hearing that said that the Inspector General found that 38 times an hour these people were violating FISA. The notion that we would stand here and defend them, frankly, is deeply disappointing, and I think those folks deserve to sit in the rat-infested J. Edgar Hoover building until they get their act straight with America's civil liberties.
I agree, but disband the FBI. So it was approved. They're getting their brand new, big, shiny, beautiful building, bigger than the U.S. Pentagon. So unconfirmed, but we're starting to see more and more of this. A random post on, I believe this is Facebook, but I don't know. I don't do Facebook. So time to come clean. I work for Wayne County, Michigan, and threw out every Trump ballot I saw, tens of thousands of them. And so did all my coworkers. I regret nothing. And the first response is, you did Michigan a favor. Well, to both of you, go fuck yourselves. And also, the FBI, why are you not investigating blatant voter fraud? Why aren't you investigating this next one? I think this was probably the highlight of the debate last night. And why aren't you investigating the fact that NBC is hosting presidential debates when we all know what happened there? And we'll let Vivek Ramaswamy tell us.
You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Ross.
Sorry. This is how we get our country back. We need accountability because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story. And they're going to rig this election.
Your time is up.
Accountability.
Let me turn to Governor Christie. Why?
So, again, I don't know how I feel about Vivek. I don't know. Apparently, if he puts on a turban, he has Obama's vote. What's up, Obama? It does not give hunting advice. Exactly. But moving on, here's the justification for why this is okay. Because Trump is literally Hitler. Trump is literally Hitler. So talking about the wicked bitch of the West herself, she's back in the media. You think any chance that she replaces Joe Biden at the top of the ticket coming up in 24? I hope not, but this is her on the cackle hen piece of shit view.
People would get legitimately elected, and then they would try to do away with elections and do away with opposition and do away with a free press. And you could see it in countries where, well, Hitler was duly elected.
That's right.
Right? And so all of a sudden, somebody with those tendencies, those dictatorial, authoritarian tendencies would be like, oh, okay, we're going to shut this down. We're going to throw these people in jail. And they didn't usually telegraph that. Trump is telling us what he intends to do.
Right.
People would get legit.
Yeah, and Donald Trump does have one term left. I contend from talking to some people in this community that I believe credit goes to Shenny. I think Shenny was right. That this is certainly where Trump wouldn't have ran had he found a successor that was that could have taken his spot. However, he didn't find one because the swamp is deep and the neocons are everywhere. But I think if he finds somebody that could replace him, Trump would like to just go play golf at Mar-a-Lago, and I don't really blame him. Skin suit. I think so too. I think so too. I think he did this to expose a lot of bullshit. Speaking of exposing a lot of bullshit, I still think this is a no topic. He does suck with his inner circle and appointments. He trusts people a little bit too much. So this one's specifically for Digger. I can't comment a whole lot on it, but just use your eyes and ears and just think about it. Nah, we're good. I want you guys to watch this.
Here we go. Hold up. Thank you so much.
So he got a booster. That, if I'm correct, that's the left side.
Here we go.
And the Band-Aid went on the right side.
Thank you so much, as always.
Every time I get a vaccine, they prep one side and actually give you the shot and the Band-Aid in the other side. Every single time. Every single time. Yes. Yes, I am. Could be. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think he made an obvious mistake with Mike Pence. What's up, Jacob Castro? What was the problem? I mean, they don't actually show anything going in. Like, here we go, we're prepping. And then we just skip to the other side. Vaccines cause adults. Huh. Hey, what's up, tits? Oh, the reason was the two arms was flow shot and one and COVID in the other? Well, why didn't they show either of them? Right. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing anywhere. It's a weird jump cut, even if you're just cutting it for if you're trying to I don't know. All right. Well, I'll take your word for it. But yeah, it looks sus as shit. So breaking, we covered a lot of this last night or 2 nights ago, so I won't cover it. But Nikki Haley is really excited. The United States military just carried out multiple airstrikes in eastern Syria, and widespread and heavy explosions being reported. So, like I said, we won't get into too much of that tonight, but obviously the United States is carrying out military actions. And then this is the update from tonight. Well, this was early this morning, late last night, early this morning, I believe. It does say 4:31 at November 8th. U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drone shot down off the coast of Yemen. Actually, Cheese and I were. I agree. A Reaper was shot down off the coast of Yemen. Cheese and I were actually following that and said, "Damn, they have the balls to fly up there again because the Russians shot them down last time." Seems like it might be intentional. But yeah. Next, we'll move over to Trump's attorney. So that whole thing going on up there is a sham democracy. And I'm saving all the Biden to load up at once. So usually I do them intermixed. Now you're getting it all at once. So this is Abba talking about their day in court when Trump had to testify. So.
You have a right to hire a lawyer who can stand up and say something when they see something wrong. But I was told to sit down today. I was yelled at, and I've had a judge who is unhinged slamming a table. Let me be very clear. I don't tolerate that in my life. I'm not going to tolerate it here. And you know what? You shouldn't either. You have a right to hire.
So apparently this is getting out of control. He's not carrying himself in a manner that is conducive to our legal system. We know that most lawyers are assholes anyways, but you know, I mean, you should carry yourself in a professional conduct setting, in my opinion. So, and it doesn't seem like that's being followed. So, all part of their plan, though. It is pouring, but you gotta throw it in every once in a while. I haven't covered much of it, but just a quick look into what's going on. This channel does not give out fuckery advice. I'm gonna have to disagree with that one. We do kind of give out fuckery advice. I'm surprised the U.S. or the Saudi Air Force is letting the Houthis keep those long-range missiles, considered they are likely use them on Saudis. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic going on over there. Another one that we'll hit quickly, and then we'll move on because we covered it in part the other night. Breaking voting machines have been shut down in several Pennsylvania districts due to votes getting flipped. I didn't think that was possible to happen. I didn't. You think so? Okay. He's assuming Superior Court will have his back. And they probably will. Probably will. Exactly. So this is a plan. They're, in my opinion, testing systems so that they can make it look even better than they did last time. More what's the word I'm looking for? More natural. Speaking of elections coming up, we're starting to have some exodus of some more political leaders. This one was actually surprising to me. This one happened just today. Senator Joe Manchin, the flip-flopper from West Virginia, he is not going to seek re-election.
I got into politics because of an argument I had 40 years ago with my dad. John Manchin owned a furniture store in Farmington, West Virginia, a small coal mining town of hardworking people. And one day our local state representative came in and asked Dad for a favor, saying, "You owe me for all the things I've done for your little town." When the man left, I turned to my dad and said, "Now, wait a minute. Isn't helping Farmington that man's job?" That moment defined the difference between self-service and public service. When I told my dad that I was going to run for office, he said, "Oh, Joe, politics is a bad business. I'm telling you right now, stay out of it." I didn't disagree that often with my father, but that time I did. I reminded him of the famous line from President John F. Kennedy's inaugural address: "Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country." I was 13 when I first heard it, and I'm still inspired today by it. My family were devoted Catholics who immigrated from Italy and Czechoslovakia. So to us, President Kennedy was held in the highest regard, and I knew President Kennedy's words would sway my dad. It took him about a minute, but my dad said that he would support me running if I made a vow to serve all the people, friend or foe, and not just myself. That promise made to my dad all those years ago has been my guiding light. I've never cared about where good ideas came from, and I never blame one side for creating a problem, nor believed that only one side could fix them. When America is at her best, we get things done by putting country before party, working across the aisle, and finding common ground. Many times, this approach has landed me in hot water, but the fight to unite has been well worth it. Today, West Virginia is attracting more investment, opportunity, and jobs than it has in decades. Here at home and across the country, we are building more roads, bridges, manufacturing plants, and energy infrastructure than almost any time in America's history. After months of deliberation and long conversation with my family, I believe in my heart of hearts that I have accomplished what I set out to do for West Virginia. I have made one of the toughest decisions of my life and decided that I will not be running for re-election to the United States Senate. But what I will be doing is traveling the country and speaking out to see if there is an interest in creating a movement to mobilize the middle and bring Americans together. To the West Virginians who have put their trust in me and fought side by side to make our state better, it has been my honor of my life to serve you. Thank you. Every incentive in Washington is designed.
Okay, thank you. We'll leave it. Thank you. So Joe Manchin stepping down to coalesce the middle class, or the middle. Fucking, he wants to bring more people into the Democrats, but yeah. I was surprised by that one because he has a significant amount of power because he supposedly goes back and forth between different things. So I thought everybody was here for fuckery. Oh, you'll get it. Don't worry. There might be a reason. I have to put some space between it because I can't specifically say why there's a reason, but there's a reason. Keep your eyes out when we get to the prison planet section of the show. So before we get there, we're going to go through some of these protests. The protests are still in full force this week. So Genocide Joe as Biden arrives in Chicago for a re-election fundraiser. We're seeing these all over the country. The one that took place in Washington, D.C. was incredibly massive the other day.
And he is a member of the Palestinian youth movement.
Joe Manchin is a Democrat from West Virginia. He's United States Senator for some time. And yeah, he has sat on the fence so long that he has literally grown a fence out of his ass to sit on. So, some more. Of course, when you get that many people together, stuff gets out of hand. And this was at the White House. I I don't agree with any insurrections, whether it be, the one that didn't happen on January 6th or the one that did happen a couple weeks ago. But, breaking down the gates of the White House is a little bit past where I want to be.
Fucking coward!
I do get with the message that they are fucking cowards. It has been for a long time. So that was a couple nights ago, and it was taken care of. It was largely put down without much incident. But we do when any group is shaking the White House fence and trying to get into the White House, that's always a concern. So find out is gone, because then you spend the rest of your life in prison. So nope, not one of them. They threw a bunch of stuff onto the White House lawn, all that kind of stuff. Always must be peaceful. Love the Palestinian resistance, but hate the leftists who jump on the bandwagon and make us look bad. Yeah. My advice: don't allow help from white liberal women if you want your movement to go anywhere. Ever. All right, so moving along. I'm not going to play this video, but other channels have covered it. I'm sure you've heard about it. I just wanted to drop it in so people are aware. Minnesota Supreme Court dismisses insurrection clause challenge allowing Trump to remain on the ballot. So it's actually the insurrection clause in Cheese if you're around. It's the 14th, I believe, right? We did a whole series. Go check it out. It's fun. On the amendments, but I believe it's the 14th Amendment, which limits him due to insurrection. That can be overturned by a vote, although he probably wouldn't get it. But the state of Minnesota said that was not the case, and he would be on the ballot. So that's always a positive. They'll have to look for a different way to remove Trump from the ballot, and I think they'll try and find one. So we had a guy who stepped down graciously to go help the middle class find their political party. And I wish this asshole would step down and fade into obscurity. Again, this is another one where I don't care what he says. I just want you to know that he's saying it, because there's always a reason that Lindsey Graham, warmonger in chief, like he is the head of that pyramid. Nikki Haley is trying to take a spot currently, but he's the top of that food pyramid of declaring war on any country. I did not stop it this way. This is the way that the clip begins. So fuck you, Lindsay. This is not my fault. So here is Lindsey Graham talking about, well,
this is the same administration that is having more illegal immigrants cross our border illegally than all presidents combined. They don't know what they're doing on the border. They don't know what they're doing when it comes to bad guys. If you had Donald Trump as president, we would secure the border tomorrow. People would listen to him in Mexico and other places because they're afraid of him. If he were president of the United States, this stuff with Iran would end. The only thing that works with bad guys is to be strong. Our border is broken. Our policies don't work. It's a matter of time till a bunch of Americans get killed. I will not vote for one dime for any country, including Israel, until we first secure our own border. This is the same administration.
Oh, wait a minute. He's fucking laughable every single time. Every single time he switches. Like, he switches so often. It's Jesus, mind blowing. Now he's back on Trump's side again, because Trump will show strength. This is the delusion section of the shit going on. So here we'll roll right into this one because this one's equally as funny. This is a Biden advisor talking about how everybody should be so excited to be under Biden's tutelage.
Look, if I look around the world, I don't think there's a leader out there who wouldn't rather have the economic record that President Biden has today. Look, if I look around.
Yeah, there isn't a leader in the world that wouldn't want inflation up the ass and a failing country. Not a single leader in the world. Well, he says everything. That's what I'm saying. He's anti-war, pro-Trump. He flip-flops so goddamn much. He's so much. So he's anti-war, pro-Trump again. Like we live in a simulation. Absolutely. I hope not. This asshole's delusional. They bleep it out, but he says fucking on live TV because he's a badass and he can say that.
Zelensky, thank you so much. Before you go, if you want to share, what keeps you going? Do you ever feel defeated?
I have a lot of power, but even feeling strong and have a lot of energy, it doesn't mean that we want to fight all our life because the price is high, like I said, because the war takes the best of us, the best heroes, the best men, women, children. That's it. But we are not ready to give our freedom to this terrorist Putin. That's it. That's why we are fighting. That's it.
President Zelensky, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This guy is such a piece of shit. Yes, he is anti-war, anti-funding war, and pro-Trump again. Lindsey Graham. Yeah. Yep. Oh, there's more. So the United States is back in, playing happy games with this asshole. Let's just go leave it at asshole. Pete Buttigieg is meeting in Kiev with
welcome. Thank you.
Shit.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us over. Thank you. You're very welcome. How are you? Look forward to seeing you. Good so far. Very good visit.
Wear something other than a fucking sweatshirt, you piece of garbage. No one can take you seriously. All right. So now we're gonna go to Biden for a couple minutes, and then actually we'll start with this one. So he came to a union event and spoke. He was able to mostly put a shirt on himself, which is impressive, if you ask me. I do not support Vladimir Zelensky. Volodymyr Zelensky. Not usually. He's usually doing press tours. Mm-hmm.
President Joe Biden.
Probably. Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's fine. they're so proud of him. He got a shirt on all by himself almost. And then, of course, protesters started breaking in because nobody likes this fucking potato. Nobody likes this potato. So now on the Secret Service watch list is not only stairs, but T-shirts. T-shirts are on there now.
Potato! Potato! Potato!
Hello. Something you don't know. My state of Delaware, a little state, because we had a small population, had the highest percentage of UAW workers in the United States of America.
Oh, did it, Joe?
We had the largest GM plant. We had the largest Chrysler plant outside of Detroit. And we had a lot of shipping as well. But here's the deal. I got raised on automobiles. My dad ran an auto. He didn't own it. He ran an automobile agency for a long time.
Oh.
No, let it go. Let it, no, let it, it's okay.
It's all right. It's all right, Jack.
Anyway. Look. I guess what I'm trying to say to you is, I grew up in neighborhoods where I know what it likes when the plant closes down.
Wait a minute. What the fuck did he just say to me? Holy shit. Exactly. I know, but sometimes. Apparently. Gross. I didn't see if she was a child or not, but so there's that. Jesus Christ. I mean, whoever thinks that this man is still running our country is obviously has something significantly wrong with them. I don't know. So moving on to the Lincoln Project. This communist bullshit organization. So this is their new ad coming out because we're getting into political season. We're a year away, and we're going to start seeing more and more and more ads. So here's one.
For 4 long years, Donald Trump disgraced America, laughing with mass-murdering dictators, Vladimir Putin's puppet.
You know, the people of Crimea, from what I've heard, would rather be with Russia than where they were.
The world laughed at us.
You know, Hezbollah is very smart. They're all very smart.
No more.
The people of this nation have spoken. At this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed.
Today, America once again leads the free world. A respected leader, steady, determined, who knows America is great because America is good.
We stand with Israel today, tomorrow, as we always have.
Under President Biden, our friends are stronger, our enemies weaker.
This is not about party or politics. This is about the security of the United States of America.
A strong economy at home, a respected America abroad. President Joe Biden, an American president.
So that's the Lincoln Project. Garbage organization. Obviously that's not terribly accurate, but just to highlight the delusion in our political system. So it is not a joke advert. This is from the Lincoln Project. Big money spent on that one. Lots of stock footage of airplanes. So this guy gets an award for coolest cat of the week, I swear. As thieves crash a backhoe into the window of a gas station store and attempt to steal an ATM. Not just the money out of the ATM, steal the whole fucking ATM. Watch this crazy surveillance video that captured the moment when thieves crashed a backhoe into the window of an Oakland, California AM/PM gas station early Monday in an attempt to steal the ATM. Police say the backhoe's cone claw came dangerously close to hitting an employee The video shows multiple attempts to pull the ATM through the broken window, but these were unsuccessful. Shortly after, 2 men pulled up in a white truck and attempted to hook the chain to the ATM, but their efforts failed as well. The suspects fled the scene before the police arrived. So great plan, just need better execution. Not advice to go knock over ATMs. But if they just had better execution, they had the tools. You know? That's what I'm saying. Problem. So, they just need to work on their skills, and I think they'll be a formidable foe to this ATM. It's pretty evident they've never used a backhoe before, ever. They made one hell of a mess of it. Why didn't you just smash it up and just take the cash? Well, we give out the other ATM advice, not stealing ATM advice.
Right?
Poorly trained on it. But yeah, that's I thought that one was funny. Yeah, it is a learning curve. It's one of the things where they'll practice and they'll get better. I'm sure of it. This one I almost didn't cover. I think we've talked about it. There's something weird with this one. It could just be a deranged bitch that did something stupid, but a woman has been arrested after purposefully crashing in her car into what she thought was a Jewish school in Indianapolis, Indiana. 34-year-old woman named Ruba Almaghtheh intentionally crashed her car into a building in Indianapolis, which she believed was a Jewish school. She expressed her anger about the Israeli-Hamas war, stating that she had been watching the news, there's your first problem, and couldn't breathe anymore. That's your second problem. Don't invite Derek Chauvin in to watch primetime news with you, and you'd be fine. During her interaction with the police, she referenced the Palestinian people targeted building known as the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, was referred to as the Israeli School by the perpetrator. Thankfully, although there were people inside the building at the time of the crash, no one was injured. Ruba was arrested, and the FBI confirmed they are aware of the incident and collaborating with the Indianapolis police on this matter. Call me. We'll do it. Damn. One of my ex-employees stole an ATM, didn't know they had tracking devices, and I did not bail them out. I didn't know they had tracking devices either. Yeah, I know. Well, you just have to do, once you get to 20, it pays itself off. It pays off the backhoe. So you got to think of the long-term implications, not just short-term success, Light Rain. So we'll get there. We had a shooting, or maybe shootings, outside a Jewish school in Montreal. Recently? I haven't seen anything on that at all.
Arrested after police say she crashed her car into a building thinking it was a Jewish school. Police say the woman told them that she did it on purpose after seeing an Israel school sign on the door. She also reportedly made references to, quote, her people back in Palestine. Now, according to the Anti-Defamation League, the building actually houses an extremist organization that is designated as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. No one was hurt in that crash.
Shit, I didn't see anything on that, Obama. I'll look while I'm going through stuff, but I did not see anything. So this is an odd story too. 4 Los Angeles sheriff's officials found dead in apparent self-deletions. I think that we'll just watch the video. So this one This one leads to a lot of questions. Did they know
It
Hillary
is heartbreaking
Clinton?
for the families. Law
Um,
enforcement officers
many
deal
other
with
questions.
so much trauma. It should be a lot easier for them to get the help they need.
These families probably had no idea, because we didn't see it coming, though, with Kyle. It just all of a sudden one day, what do you mean he wants to kill himself?
4 suicides in 2 days involving former and current employees of the LA County Sheriff's Department may be shocking to most people, but not to Laura Linder, founder of the nonprofit Exclusively First Responders. After her son-in-law, Kyle Sword, at the time an
Oh, I
LA
know.
County Sheriff's deputy, suddenly wanted to kill himself,
Thank you.
Linder discovered a sad reality in law enforcement.
They talk about that whole brotherhood. Oh yeah, everything together. But when there's one weak link, they push it out. They turn their backs. They don't call anymore. They don't show up. They're just gone.
He had told me that he was ready to die.
Michaela Sword is Kyle's wife.
I didn't know any resources, and me as a wife, I feel like that should be very known to family members. So when you see that your loved one is spiraling,
Again, we won't listen to a ton of that, but I just thought it was weird that, I mean, it's a big department. 4, I guess, isn't that uncommon. It could be a trend, and we certainly want to look at the trend a little bit more. If we continue to see an exacerbation of that trend, it might be something worth looking into. But yeah. So the other side. Arizona man arrested for alleged death threats to local rabbi and every other Jew I can find. This guy looks like a stable genius, stable individual. Absolutely. Thank you, Digger. Jeffrey Mindak of Tempe was arrested Saturday morning on a federal complaint and arrest warrant by the Federal Bureau of Investigation for making a threat to execute a local rabbi and every other Jew I can find tonight at midnight of your Sabbath. So he did some research. I don't even know when Sabbath is. Is it Saturday, Friday? Something. I don't know. The complaint alleges that Mindak sent an email on the morning of Friday, November 3rd, 2023. So they acted very quickly to a rabbi at a local synagogue in Scottsdale, asking the rabbi to try to convince a judge in Utah to drop the charge against Mindak. Oh, this is him threatening him. Gotcha. In a state district court in Utah, the email stated, if you do not use your influence to get to right this wrong, I will execute you and every other Jew. Sorry, that wasn't funny. Something else was funny. I can find tonight on midnight of your Sabbath. The email went on, if you wish to communicate with me further, I will only meet in person. List an address for the sender in Tempe, and was signed Shalom Victor Sidovex. So this guy's obviously unhinged. Very, very unhinged. So, just another crazy person that, again, is getting caught up in the media and just doing stupid shit. So, rabbi. I could kill a rabbi right now. Sabbath to sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. Okay, cool. I would too. Oh, you do associate with him, or you would. I would as well. I think we're on the same page. We're getting there. We're getting there. No, I didn't, Deez. No, I didn't. So now we're gonna get into, well, here, let's go over here. Sorry, it's in Canadian, so it's kind of fucky with the whole thing, but we'll deal with it. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate it. I bet you it was fun. It was a good time. Police investigating shots fired overnight at 2 Jewish schools in Montreal. And this happened 9 hours ago. So Montreal police are investigating after shots were fired at 2 Jewish schools. Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal, spokesperson Jean-Pierre Brabant, said police received 2 911 calls, one around 8:20 a.m. and a second just before 8:50 a.m. In both cases, the callers reported the school's front doors had been struck by bullets, but police cannot confirm if there's a link between the incidents. He said it's not clear whether shots were fired. One of the schools, the Talmud Torah Elementary School, is located on St. Kevin Avenue in the city's Côte-des-Neiges neighborhood. At least one bullet casing was found at the scene, according to Brabant. The other, Yeshiva Gedola of Montreal, is located on Deacon Road. Brabant said both schools were empty at the time of the shooting and nobody was injured. David Olio, an adult who studies at Gadila, says the incident would not deter him from openly observing his faith. Good. You should never let terror run your faith or interrupt your faith. I'm going to keep wearing my kippah proud and not be afraid to live in my home where I was born, he said, adding that people have the right to protest against the actions of the Israeli government, but not target Jewish people in the city with violence. I agree. I agree with that. So yeah, something to keep an eye on. Again, I don't know what the makeup. I know Montreal's a big city and probably more subject to crime as we continue progressing down this path of deterioration for both of our nations. But is that normal in Montreal to have shots hit a back door? I mean, so lots of stuff happening in Canada on both sides. It's dumb. Yeah. Same thing here. We have police officers at churches in my city. Damn. Jacob Castro, I almost said the T word, is gender fluid. Do you go next to the blinker fluid? I don't know where gender fluid goes. I'm pro-Palestinian, but I'm getting tired of these leftists committing violence. The Jews and Zionists seem pretty non-violent so far. Yeah, it's generally the people on the fringes. It's not the people that have stake in something. It's people that take advantage of a cause and use it to foment violence and hate and all that kind of shit. So moving on. We're starting to get into those viewer discretion. Shit's gonna get a little nasty. So you might want to, if this isn't your thing, then we'll be back in like 20 minutes with the it's next to the transmission fluid. Okay. So we're getting into that touchy subject. So California man with a 420 tattoo on his head allegedly decapitates relative, flees with their head. This fucker looks incredibly stable. I don't believe for a second he did that. He has a 420 and a pot leaf on his left side of his head. Nice tattoo dude from Digger. So on Thursday, November 2nd, 2023, around 3:40 p.m., Santa Rosa police officers responded to a call at the 2500 block of Pomo Trail. What they encountered was a scene of unimaginable horror. Inside the residence, they discovered a lifeless body of an adult female, her head severed from her body. Shockingly, the victim's head was nowhere to be found. Detectives say the victim's own relative, Luis Gustavo Arreo Lopez, a 24-year-old resident of Santa Rosa, was identified as the prime suspect in her murder. It's believed that Arreo Lopez killed the victim before making an escape, carrying her severed head with him. Police later confirmed that Arreo Lopez had been taken in custody. However, they have not disclosed whether they were able to recover the victim's severed head. So they think he took the head, but they're not sure. Damn, that's tight. He had a duffel bag and went searching for 7 more. Shit. Well, he's a future scientist and engineer. So, don't we all, brother? Don't we all? So, yeah, but he looks stable. I don't know. This one's weird. I haven't seen anything, and due to the subject nature, I think it would have garnered more attention. But apparently, and I couldn't find a whole hell of a lot more than what's here. Multiple children have been shot and injured in a mass shooting in Cincinnati, Ohio. Multiple authorities are on the scene of a mass shooting where 6 children have been confirmed shot, with 1 confirmed deceased. All victims have been transported to Cincinnati Children's Hospital for treatment. At this time, hospital officials were unable to provide further details on the ages and conditions of the victims. The situation is still developing. And after that, it just went fucking silent. Like, there's some articles with speculation 6 is about the number, but largely nothing there. So.
Truck 29 to responding companies. We have a total of, right at this point, 5 children shot. We have.
I was just getting logged on. Did you still need me to respond on District 1, 2?
And we have several
I believe we're in a
leg and abdomen and back. So we're at Bent Avenue, Bent Drive, and Jones.
I copy 5323. If you can respond as well.
Please respond for multiple shooting victims, 731 Benton Street.
We have 5 children shot down in District 1. I'm assuming some are going to come your way and some are going to go to UC.
Please respond for multiple shooting victims, 731 Benton Street.
We have 5 children shot down in District 1. I'm assuming
Friday.
Some are going to come your way and some are going to go to UC.
The fact that there's nothing on it is odd.
4230. Let's hold seconds.
So it's odd that nothing came up in a week. So, but 6 children, that's a pretty bad one. These behave. Arkansas woman admits to with 15-year-old gets probation. Damn, this bitch looks plastic. Real plastic. A woman from Rogers, Arkansas, accused of engaging in activity with a minor, has altered her plea and received a probationary sentence. Stephanie Neplig was arrested on July 13th on charges of 4th-degree assault. The initial alert to the police came through a hotline, leading to an interview with the victim at the Children's Advocacy Center. I know dads are in D's. According to court documents, the victim disclosed that they were at a home with Nepling when the appropriate conduct occurred, initially denying the accusations. Nepling later admitted to orally and other relations with said person and acknowledged sending explicit photos via Snapchat. Initially entering a not guilty plea during an arraignment, Nepling reversed her guilty plea during a pretrial hearing on November 6th. Consequently, she was handed a 6-year probationary sentence. Nepling was sentenced to 116 days in jail. Her credit for at least 116 days excerpts her from further incarceration. Additionally, she's mandated to register as an offender and is prohibited from contacting the victim. So, wood chipper, but didn't end up getting it, which is unfortunate. But that's that dichotomy of if it's a female victim, it's more you're going to get more trouble for it. So, I'm sure. You won't get any here. These people are fucking ridiculous. Yes, pickles. I mean, again, we have to be consistent. If somebody's getting abused like that, we can't be outraged at one side and then be like, fuck it, it's cool on the other side. But that's just my opinion. That's true. Florida man and woman arrested on abhorrent charges. Clearwater, Florida. These guys look stable as well. A detective from Pinellas County Crimes Against Children Unit have arrested 2 individuals in connection with multiple charges, including possession of pizza, lewd, and lascivious. God, I can't even say that word. Promoting a performance of a kid and unlawful use of a TUI communication device, like a radio. The investigation was initiated following a report of an inappropriate conduct allegedly involving 26-year-old Brandon Green and 21-year-old Autumn Jenkins, directed towards the female victim. Detectives assert that Green and Jenkins engaged in acts with the victim and recorded the incidents. Furthermore, the disturbing recordings were then transmitted to Green by Jenkins. Through a series of interviews and employing various investigation techniques, detectives established that these criminal acts took place on multiple occasions at different locations. During her interview with detectives, Jenkins reportedly admitted to her involvement in the acts with the victim, the recording of these incidents, and subsequently transmitting the recordings. Green denied the allegations made against him. Both suspects, Brandon Green and Autumn Jenkins, have been taken into custody and will be transported to Pinellas County Jail. The investigation is ongoing, and details are very sparse at this point because it's still being investigated. But so they were creating and essentially distributing images of them assaulting a young lady. Yeah. Yep. I won't say that because I don't know if anybody in my chat's named on them. Yeah, I can. It's a whore name. That's why. Come at me. Remember when I said there might be a reason why politicians might be stepping away again? And I said, wait until later in the show. This is just one of about 7 different reports that I saw today. Politicians, executive, military officers among customers identified in federal high-end brothel case. And this didn't go just towards. This one's one that we're going to do a show on, and we're going to look into a little bit different and a little bit deeper. But so this is happening. Massachusetts U.S. Attorney is announcing arrest of 3 people. Allegedly include elected official, doctor, military officers, and government contractors. And I mean, here's services, and it was also said that some of them were on the younger side of life. So something that we will certainly pay attention to, certainly probably be Rumble exclusive, and certainly will require adult speak to communicate. So, what did I phrase? I don't think I phrased anything. But that's the end of Prison Planet. Now we go towards everything else. What's on fire? What's being recalled? What's going to hell? Everything. Cheese is going to be upset. So if Cheese is here, please somebody console and comfort my government Cheese, because he's going to be very upset. Tyson recalls 30,000 pounds of chicken nuggets. Oh shit, they're even the fun nuggets. Those are the ones that Cheese likes the most. Fuck. Somebody hold Cheese, because he's going to be upset. Tyson Foods has issued a recall for nearly 30,000 pounds of a product known as dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets. Shit. This action comes in response from customers who discovered small metal fragments in the nuggets. Well, if you, I thought they recalled 30,000 pounds of bugs. Maybe. If you pay attention to some of the conspiracists, the metal fragments are intentionally there, but, you know. The announcement was made by the Department of Agriculture's Food and Safety Inspection Service on Saturday. Recall specifically to the 29-ounce plastic bags of the product officially labeled as fully cooked nuggets, breaded shaped chicken patties, according to FSIS release. Approximately 29,819 pounds of these fun nuggets, I'll give you some fun nuggets, are affected by this recall. So if you have Tyson fun nuggets that are shaped like dinosaurs, like I know cheese does, it was probably intentional. But for real, if you have fun nuggets, you know, look at your options because they recalled most of them. Texas is on fire more ways than one. We're gonna get to it. So this was yesterday, as thick black toxic smoke engulfed the sky after a significant explosion occurred at the chemical plant, prompting a 5-mile shelter-in-place order in Shepherd, Texas. It could be lead. I mean, go for it. I don't give advice. I just let you guys know what's going on. You make your own choices. Most of you are grown-ups, not him. Most of you are grown-ups. Numerous emergency crews are at the scene following a significant explosion at a chemical plant in Shepherd, Texas. That happened to be around 11:25 a.m. The plant produces numerous types of solvents and chemicals for glue, paint removers, and other products. So it's all perfectly safe. Multiple injuries have been reported, but all employees inside the plant have been located. Emergency officials urge residents near the plant to evacuate, and those within a 5-mile radius should shelter in place due to toxic chemicals. Where have we seen this before? Large plumes of smoke are visible for miles in the sky. Horse plant? No, it's in Shepherd, Texas. They build, or they, not like Elmer's glue. Like we're talking like solvent glues, like bad shit.
It's awesome. It's just, you can hear it blowing up as they were in the yard.
That's some thick black smoke. Some thick black smoke. Thick with 2 C's. Yep. Oh, we're going to get there in just a second. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's just...
Oh, there we go. So here's what we know so far. This massive explosion occurred around 11:20 a.m. Wednesday morning in Shepherd, Texas. Multiple people reported numerous explosions and thick with 2 C's black smoke that can be seen from miles away. The chemical plant exploded manufactures industrial chemicals such as sulfuric acid, acetone, and petrochemicals like xylene and toluene. That's not good shit. Emergency officials reported multiple injuries in the plant. Shelter in place for 5 miles. Firefighters and other emergency officials have gained control of the fire. Well, it doesn't matter. You let all that shit into the atmosphere. And this is the evacuation active shelter in place area and the old and now expired 5-mile shelter in place order based on wind speeds and wind direction at the time. I actually don't know where Shepherd, Texas is. Anybody knows? Looks like it's north of Cleveland, Texas. Livingston, Shepherd, Cleveland. Good luck. did I say? Shepherd. Shepherd. If y'all were smokers, these wouldn't phase your lungs. Exactly. So stop being a pussy and, you know. Oh, northeast of Houston. So, looks like. So here's the pin where Shepherd, Texas is. Here's Houston, Texas. And for those not from the US of A, that's where it's at in relation to things like Florida. So obviously this is a bad one. It's probably on the same level as East Palestine, Ohio. Take caution if you're in the area. So. Anyone else notice how many chemical accidents there have been in the last 2 years? Yeah. There's at least one every single week that I do this program, Tits. So you're talking, I've been doing this for a year. So we're talking, 50 at least. Sometimes we get a couple. Ohio voters passed constitutional amendment protecting access to abortion. Ohio went blue. Breaking, Ohio voters approve legalizing recreational marijuana in the state for adults 21 or older. Another one that I don't really care about, but, it happens. But, so they can numb the pain when they abort the babies. Some comments are fucking just incredible. That gets a love from me. If you are one of those kid people that likes touching, never mind. Never mind. I was going to make an abortion joke, but that wouldn't be appropriate, would it? Back to Texas. A rare 5.2 magnitude earthquake shakes parts of Texas. A rare magnitude 5.2 earthquake just struck near Mentone, Texas, moments ago. And I believe this is also yesterday. So yesterday morning. With multiple people reportedly being awakened by the shaking to quake originating near Mentone, Texas, is expected to be felt in areas including Midland, Carlsbad, Lubbock, and even El Paso, Texas, as well as Roswell, New Mexico. There have been reports of minor injuries due to falling objects and some minor medical issues. So this is, thank you, Raw Alerts, for putting up the picture. So this little dotted line is the start of New Mexico. This is Texas. And this is where it happened. So this hard line, that's Mexico to the south. So, did you? Yeah. Kind of western Texas. Oh, it is. It absolutely is much bigger. Absolutely is much bigger, but all right. So Omegle, a large video chat site, has officially shut down forever. Kind of garbage, a lot of fucking creeps. If you look into some of the stuff that happened on there over the years, nothing good was happening there. So I'm not upset about it, but it is shut down forever. Speaking of somebody that would probably be on Omegle, it's far enough away where I don't think it would have an impact. This is the kind of people that are on this planet and on Omegle. This is Starburst, ladies and gentlemen, and aliens were found on Earth.
Yeah, motherfuckers, I got a new color. My name ain't Blue Taki no more, bitch. My name's Starburst, okay? Star fucking Burst. Yeah.
It's not Butaki anymore. It's Star fucking Burst. Normal. This is some fun for y'all. All right. back to the series. This was last week, right after I got off stream, pretty much. Multiple injuries reported. A semi-truck crashes into Tulia Auto Mall, setting building and over a dozen cars ablaze. Multiple authorities are currently investigating Tulia, Utah, where a semi-truck lost its brake, crashed, and caused a car dealership building to catch fire. Officials reported that several people have been injured, but the severity remains unspecified. The collision of the accident involved and destroyed a total of 27 cars. Drivers are advised to avoid the area. And that's what it looks like now. So we'll watch the video real quick.
Yeah. Yes, we did. Incoming units, we have a semi in the building, fully engulfed. There's other multiple vehicles on fire, and it's in the building.
So it looks like one hell of a fire, but nothing incredibly nefarious, in my opinion. So, yep, that happened. No, I don't ever turn on subtitles. I don't know. I no fucking clue. No clue. All right. Does anybody know what chikungunya virus is? Because apparently Big Pharma made a vaccine for it, and it was approved by the FBI or FDA. Might as well fucking be the FBI. So I haven't heard of this. So through the bite of an infected mosquito, 5 million cases over the past 15 years, tropical, blah, blah, blah. I haven't heard of this one, honestly. So it seems like it's a longer term one, not something that's coming up like the COVID, but just another data point, something to look out for. And if you want to go get jabbed, you can go get jabbed for it. It's okay. We'll still love you. Black albino is probably that's probably a no word. Gross. Could be. Shit, you got it too, brother? Damn. I cannot confirm or deny any involvement. All right, so that's all the depressing bad news. There is some good news, though. Good news. There appears to be an FTS explosive team for Starship coming out of Brownsville, Texas. This is good news. That means that we're probably close to imminent for another test launch of the Super Heavy. What the FTS team does is they add explosives to the rocket so they can blow it up if it does get out of control. So that's a good sign. We also got an animation using Google Earth of the trajectory of the rocket and where to go find small parts after it lands if you want to get one and, send it to Meaty.
Starship will lift off from Starbase in Boca Chica,
Well, there were
Texas.
so many
The Starship
dicks there.
spacecraft and Super
I couldn't
Heavy
help it.
booster separate about 3 minutes into flight. The booster comes down in the Gulf of Mexico, close to
Oh,
shore,
shit, that's right.
while the upper stage
I
Starship
did forget
continues
about
on
that.
flying between the Florida Straits and achieves orbit before splashing down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of the Hawaiian island of Kauai. And once again, we can't wait to see this happen.
I can't wait to see it happen either. So, and as far as when this could happen, we got a couple primary and alternative dates. These are just speculative. We're still waiting on regulatory approval from the FAA, but something must have moved or they wouldn't have said anything. Possible date for closure, November 13th, 12 a.m. to 2 p.m. Alternative date, 12 a.m. to 2 p.m. on November 14th, and November 15th, 12 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that's something I will be watching very closely. And if we get any indication, I will certainly be covering that live. What's coming up on spaceflight? So CRS, we just watched launch. If you missed it, go back. It's about a half an hour long. It was a good launch. We have a Transporter 9 out of Vandenberg Air Force Base on November 11th. And we have a Falcon 9 out of Cape Canaveral Space Force Station on November 12th. And that's going to take us up to the Starship test launch, and then likely a Falcon Heavy for the United States government coming in mid-December. So that's what we got coming up for spaceflight. So let's fucking go. I mean, when they're talking about, the things that were being talked about, could you really say no, Obama? So here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I don't know if you've seen this video yet, but this video is allegedly a defense team talking about the 2020 election stolen. Now, this is in a hearing. It's about 25 minutes long. And actually, let me find. I was going to watch it at the end of this, so it's not standalone, so it has less of a chance of getting me totally fucked. So we'll see. I can't talk and type, so. Cool. Yes. I'm good either way. I'm gonna. You saw this, holy shitballs. Yes. I think Digger actually sent it to me. Maybe. Or maybe I'm giving you way too much credit. So we'll let that run for just a second. Just get a couple votes. Watch it now. One more. Yeah, fuck it. I'm good with that. Watch it now. So I'm going to let it kind of run through because we know that commenting on shit like this is probably a bad idea. So we'll let it run and enjoy. Yeah, I'll give as much of my opinion as I can. I just know it's a touchy subject. So I'll let it run and then I'll talk about it afterwards. Because then we'll be close to that 2-hour mark.
We'll go ahead and move on to our presentation from Maria Zach. And this is talking about the elections. Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Maria Zach from Nations in Action, and we are an organization that's devoted to transparent government, transformative politicians, trustworthy parties, and truthful media. The Italian Secret Service actually received information from Arturo's girlfriend, he considers wife because they've been together so long. Her uncle is part of the Italian intelligence services. She said, Uncle, Arturo came home and said he doesn't understand why we're stealing America's election. They immediately go to Leonardo and investigate. Arturo confesses. The Italian intelligence services reach out to us November 18th. They said something happened. We're watching a coup d'etat in the United States of America. They were fearful of meeting
I got
with
it,
anyone.
please. We'll go there after.
There were 2 affidavits that were delivered into Congress, and they were delivered from Italian citizens that contacted us. Intelligence agencies had been trying to reach out because their country had already fallen. And that is what is happening around the world. The intelligence agencies are watching corruption and China come in to their countries and buying off politicians and hiding things and using fraud to do amazing efforts to take over and own property and, in some instances, countries. So today I'm going to play for you an audio tape that should shock you all. It'll shock America. This is the first place I have chosen to testify in. I could have walked into any state. I know my way around. We've already proven my credentials. I know government affairs. I can walk in, and when I play this for you, and why Kansas? Because Kansas was a pro-Trump victor of electors. But I would argue you don't know. You do not know the real result of your election. You also probably have not been made aware of what was occurring in Italy. Leonardo, the defense contracting firm, had some strange occurrences happening with people coming in and out that the intelligence services witnessed, of people coming from Frankfurt into the Italian U.S. embassy in Rome on Via Veneto. This instance enabled individuals to come forward and supposedly, according to the Italian intelligence services, work with Leonardo to change the results of the United States election. But more frightening is that they claim there were 47 to 52 presidential elections around the world, and they now have telemetry experts, over 200, that speak foreign languages that are all different. So what you are dealing with is a very calculated attempt to take down presidencies and control countries. So this audio that I'm about to play for you is from an individual who was a member of the CIA and the State Department. His name is Larry Johnson. Many of you may not know, but I am the person not only who hand-delivered that letter to Donald Trump on Christmas Eve in 2020, telling him who stole the election, where they stole it, and how they stole it. And my number one goal was to bring back one of the people who was in the satellite center. His name was Arturo Delia. My goal was to rescue him and bring him over to America because he was willing to testify. There were people that would not assist, that I thought would assist, but what was most shocking was this voice recording that I will play now.
Maria, hi. Larry Johnson. We spoke yesterday. Listen, I needed to see if you would help us get in touch with the lawyer, because after you talked to him yesterday, he went missing. We have people in Italy now and are ready to have the person that's in jail. We've got a national security team that can extradite him and bring him back safely to the United States. So that's already lined up. There's no need for an airplane because the airplane is going to be provided and witness protection provided. If you could call me at your convenience, 301-442-5957.
That's our United States government, supposedly, national security, that are going to go rescue Arturo Delia. Anyone know about that? Probably not. Anyone? Because most Americans had this truth hidden from them, that there was an operation, supposedly, but the number one thing that they were looking for in the beginning of that message was where the lawyers were and the people who did the affidavits who were being hunted to be killed. These are brave people around the world that are trying to tell the truth and having great difficulty with the United States government apparatus. Telling the truth is not easy, and people are risking their lives. So that was the transcript. So you ask, okay, what proof is there? Well, I would definitely consider that, sir, Mr. Chairman and members. That is called proof. That needs an investigation. Where is our law enforcement? It should be at the local, state, and federal levels immediately to investigate Larry Johnson and the activities that he did in the United States during this whole event. You know, everyone says if you see something, say something, right? We're all supposed to see something, say something, and then what happens? You get blasted. We had patterns of illegal activity across the country. We had people not matching signatures on the ballots. We had witnesses galore filling out affidavits. I'm so proud of the team at Nations in Action because they filed many, many, many affidavits. They saw the computers actually online and there are photographs. So if anyone says the machines weren't online, that is false. So these witnesses that have come forward have also identified over 35,000 illegal cross-county voting just in Georgia alone, and that relates to President Trump's talk with Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, where he was saying, I know that there are votes there that were illegally cast. He was right. He is actually vindicated in the proof today because the cross-reference with the state documents and the U.S. Postal Service feed shows that these people did not live where they actually voted. Those votes should have never been counted. Now we have illegal votes that are cast using fake residences and business addresses, photocopied identical ballots and stacks fed into tabulators, and many fake, unfolded, unmailed absentee ballots. Of the thousands of affidavits just filed in Georgia alone, would you like to know how many arrests were made? Zero. Zero. All those great citizens who we ask to do us a favor and help us do our right to vote, to go and volunteer to work polls, had no assistance at all in having a free and fair election, and they witnessed the failures of America. So now you should be asking me, who are the people in Italy, Maria? Who are they that actually coordinated and conspired? Because this is where we really break things down and show you the proof of what occurred. Stefano Serafini on your left is actually a member of our State Department who retired just days before the election. It is said that he, in an intercept, it was picked up that he was retiring so he wouldn't lose his pension should he be caught. He was coordinating with General Claudio Graziano. General Graziano is also at the time was the EU commander. And they were meeting across the street at the St. Regis Hotel. And it was with Ignazio Moncada, who is the CEO of Fatah, which is Fatah SPA, which is a subsidiary of Leonardo, one of the largest defense contracting firms in the world. They are the largest in Italy, and they received numerous United States military and intelligence contracts. That should frighten everybody right now. Now, they were meeting in his hotel, and in March of 2020, they were coordinating this plan. The Italian intelligence services actually provided me with the cell phone number for the go order, and it goes to General Graziano. So then you ask, well, they concoct the plan, they have to go get the IT guys. Who's going to do it? Well, they already had a guy. His name is Charles Robinson. He is a telemetry expert. He came in a week prior to the election of November 2020. He uploaded mil-spec software, and he had traveled from Frankfurt. He was working in there with Arturo D'Elia. He is an IT guru in Italy. He's known as the smartest. The Italian Secret Service actually received information from Arturo's girlfriend, he considers wife because they've been together so long. Her uncle is part of the Italian intelligence services. She said, Uncle, Arturo came home and said he doesn't understand why we're stealing America's election. They immediately go to Leonardo and investigate. Arturo confesses. What they don't know, what Arturo doesn't know and anyone else, the Italian intelligence services, with the help of the Finanza Guardia, were conducting the investigation, and they said they were there to check for financial fraud. So they were checking all the other employees saying, hey, you got anything? What's going on around here? Any financial fraud? And one guy was a little nervous and he said, I don't have financial fraud, but something strange happened in the satellite center I'd like to confess. There was actually a second person in his name we had named Beta. Beta confessed to the Italian Secret Service, corroborating the entire story that Arturo D'Elia told to the intelligence services of Italy. This is Arturo. Arturo was hiding in the facility for 18 days while I tried to rescue him. I am just a citizen. I am not agency. I shouldn't have to go do this for my country, but I will bleed for my country. And I had an opportunity to bring the witness and try to rescue him before he would be murdered leaving Italy. For 18 days, we hid him. And I personally funded and took money out of my retirement to do this. I can tell you that I was at the last straw and made a recommendation in the beginning of December to drop an article in Italy because I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't get to anyone. And I have 30 years of experience, and I had to wonder, why is it that a lot of the elected officials I went to are so afraid of me coming out with this information? It didn't matter if they were Democrats or Republicans, because I know everyone. I know Stacey Abrams. I know Brian Kemp. I know them all, and they have known me for years, and they have known me to be a very honest person. I will bleed for my country, and I will not cover for my party or any individual that I consider a friend, because we are at war, and that is what America deserves. So I dropped the recommendation and strategy to drop the article in Italy. The day the article dropped, all hell broke loose in Italy. They immediately put out for the arrest of Arturo Delia, and they arrested and jailed him. They fired their head of cyber security for the country, and they fired the head of telecom for the country. Oh, just on one day when I dropped one little article. Isn't that amazing? I'm sure that's just totally pure coincidence. So the timeline, we did an extensive timeline of what was occurring as this was happening. We knew that the meetings were taking place from March of 2020 and then into the summer. November, the first week in November, the crew arrived to the US Embassy. There were data thrusts during the election because they said they couldn't keep up with all the votes and switching them. It was through the use of the Galileo satellite that was taken offline to load the mil-spec software. And let me make it very clear. I also own an IT company. I have friends who are both SEAL Team 6 former members that are communications and IT specialists. You have a document in your folder that explains how the satellites can be used. There are many methods. Anyone get Dish Network? Anyone get satellite TV? It's the same thing. So I'm going to make it real easy for you because I tell you, IT can be a bit complex. And so they loaded the software, they used it. Arturo goes home and tells his significant other. The Italian intelligence services reach out to us November 18th. They said something happened, we're watching a coup d'etat in the United States of America. They were fearful of meeting with anyone. The Italian government heads changed and did the arrests of the Sparkle Telecom and CERT. And then the CIA operatives fled immediately from the embassy the same day as the article dropping. That is not coincidence. This is one of the gentlemen, if you notice the sneakers, same guy. That picture is from the United States Rome Embassy. Nobody can get that picture unless you're Italian intelligence services. The camera is super high up. It is a secured facility, secured item. They sent me that photo. They were sending me documents and sending me photos because they knew there was nobody in the United States Rome Embassy that they could trust. And that is a sad, sad, sad day for America to wake up to this reality. It is not partisan, I will remind everyone. This is a whole different operation and a whole different war we are fighting. These are the other operatives that were fleeing on that day. They told the ticket agent that they were returning back to Frankfurt, which confirmed everything. Leonardo actually had their facility, their secure facility for all of their cloud services in Frankfurt, and they recently moved it. But at the time, it was in Frankfurt. They're also looking at renaming Leonardo and breaking it into pieces as we speak. Sound familiar? Maybe something that used to be called Facebook. So then we have the gentleman in the center. There's a gentleman with a very large bicep. And you would say, huh, why do we care about that gentleman's bicep? We care a lot about that gentleman because that gentleman is out of Canada. He is not an American, he is Canadian. These gentlemen, this one in particular, we received a tip immediately that this gentleman, Charles Robinson, had confessed to stealing races in Arizona as early 2000, including Janet Napolitano's race for governor. He returned back to Canada with a brand new sports car and confessed to a fellow coworker while he was working at one point for Dominion. Then he was not working for Dominion. Then he went back to Dominion, and then he left and was working for another company. This gentleman has an extraordinary large bicep. He's very well known by this source. This source worked with Canadian law enforcement who seem to be a lot more willing than our federal agencies. And they started tracking the gentleman. The sources claim that this is the guy who is so brilliant as a telemetry expert that he was able to load the software and change the votes. He now has 3 women, and there are people hunting him because people have followed my work. And sadly, some of them have done things that are, in my opinion, treasonous. They have gone to Italy under the guise of collecting money to go do an investigation on Italy. And they've taken this information and gone and gotten massages, rented villas, and they've also gotten people inspired to go hunt this guy down, as well as Stefano Serafini from the U.S. Embassy. Serafini is still in Italy. He does not return to his McLean, Virginia home because he knows there are Americans looking for him. In my opinion, that was very wrong to incite Americans to go after and hunt these people. But Americans are desperate for politicians and law enforcement to do something. So I beg of you to work with law enforcement and make something happen after this presentation, because there's too much proof to not have it happen. Now for Alexander Nix. That name should be familiar to all of you. He was very involved in races in 2016 and prior. He was involved in the Cruz campaign. He was involved in the Trump campaign. And he was fined and part of the use of people's data from Facebook, a huge, massive fine that Mark Zuckerberg had to pay. And I always found it odd. Why would Mark Zuckerberg be working with the IT guy from Cambridge Analytica out of London, and yet they're working to help Republicans? That doesn't seem to make sense because Mr. Zuckerberg seems to be on the other side. Well, the Italian intelligence services immediately started giving me downloads on all the people, including sending me their picture and phone numbers out of their phones, showing and verifying that they not only knew who they were, they had relationships. One person actually drove Alexander Nix to the CEO's office at Leonardo in Italy. Now, you must ask yourself, why would an IT guy who has a voter technology actually be going to a defense contracting firm in Italy? Doesn't make sense, does it? No, it doesn't. And so you have to ask, okay, so Alexander Nix, is he MI6 like the Italian intelligence services says? Was he in meetings in America with CISA, the security association that was ensuring our elections? I am told that he was actually given permission and attendance of our election integrity and security meetings in the United States federal government as late as October of 2020. And he is a British citizen. He is not American, and he ran an IT company as his cover called Cambridge Analytica, where there are movies by Brittany Kaiser and others, Chris Wiley, who are 2 very liberal Democrats who came out, they saw something and they said something. And these people know something is wrong, and they have written books, and I highly recommend reading those. So while this was going on, the Italian intelligence services started telling me how things were breaking down in Italy and the Italian government was going to collapse. I am not one who's ever received an intelligence briefing in my life. I was a lobbyist, state lobbyist. You know many of people just like me. And so all of a sudden I'm being told that Joe Biden called Matteo Renzi, who was the former prime minister, prior to the collapse of the government, and he said, I need you to take down Giuseppe Conte as the prime minister. Within 3 weeks, Giuseppe Conte was down and Italy was in total chaos. That is proof that the intel intercepts that I was receiving were factual. Now, Conte was not real happy about going down, but he was given millions of dollars, we were told, in a California bank. These are banking issues as well. There were movements and pallets of cash, including the information that I supplied to Special Counsel John Durham. You are the first government agency that I am making this very clear to everyone. John Durham is in possession of documents from me that include the moving of pallets of cash by Barack Obama through the Dubai embassy. Our United States government CIA agent was present. $400 million were moved from there with the help of Italians, and the Finanza Guardia in Italy knows. And they supplied the names of the people in the room, and now we need you to get your United States senators and your congressional delegation, and I don't care what party they are, and they need to work together because stealing from the American families in Kansas is wrong. And they stole $400 million and put it in the Merrill Lynch in Geneva, Switzerland. That is evidence that is sitting before us today. This story gets worse and more horrifying for the citizens of Kansas and America. So we knew that the plot was going to continue. They were going to try to kill Arturo Delia. We knew that they were chasing the Italians that were helping us. They have been threatened. They have been in car chases. They have had their cars roll over and people injured. And there have been many Italians who have been murdered. 5 government officials in March alone were murdered, including an ambassador. A brand new appointment to the cabinet was murdered the very day he was appointed. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield the floor for questions.
Okay, do we have questions?
You give us a lot. It's awful hard to grasp everything all you're saying, and a lot of it's very new for us.
Yes, sir.
Going to Italy and Leonardo, if I understanding what you're saying is that satellite there could send the codes.
Okay, so that's just going to be some boomers talking about bullshit, and nobody wants to hear that. So here's my take on what's going on right here. One, like Tit says, joke aside, we all knew this. There's a difference between knowing it and then seeing it in black and white, or in a hearing, or in a release, or something like that. Yeah, we all knew it, but none of us really had any proof, and it was nothing more than speculation the whole time. Now we know unequivocally that it is true. Like, it's in a hearing, it's there, it's out in the open, and likely somebody's going to probably pay for it, like they usually do. Also, there is, where there's smoke, there's fire, and with the smoke, I have a contact stolen election high because of all the smoke. There is so much smoke. There is so much. There's so very much that it's unbelievable at this point. I think we can say a couple things unequivocally. We can say that the 2020 election was indeed stolen on some level. Probably some interruptions and some nefarious things going on with previous elections too. I don't think we've had a clean election in a long time, to be honest. Also, this shit is on fire. Yeah. Also, with that being said, what does that mean for us going forward? We continue the pressure, we continue on it. And the one complaint that I've heard is, oh, well, Trump's not the great savior that you think he is. One, I said he's a man, he's not my savior. He's a man running for president that frankly doesn't really give a shit about me. Might care about the American people as a whole, might care about the country, but the man doesn't give a flying fuck about me, doesn't even know who I am. So, with that being said, the point is, if they can do it to somebody, and that further proves my point in the fact that if they can do it to somebody that's on their team or slightly on their team or remotely on their team or not as on our team as we think, then we're completely fucked, because they're going to do it to anybody that we ever try and elevate to these positions of power. And that's the scary part. It's not about Donald Trump. It's about freedom of choice, and it's been able to make our own decisions and make this an actual fledgling democracy in the United States. Also, there is entirely too much information to think that it wasn't stolen. There's entirely too much information to bury your head in the sand and say, nope, it's fine. This is going to happen in 24 if there is an election. And it's going to continue to happen until we put a stop to it. So I think that there is certainly a lot to be gained by some major pushback in this category. I also think there's certainly a lot to be gained by paying attention, spreading, talking about this, but moving it on and fighting the censorship and fighting the silencing that we all know is happening. So that's another portion of it. I think finally it's again getting so involved that you can't be shut out. And that's become even more ridiculous and even more difficult to do, because both sides are corrupt. It's a uniparty, and they're on one team, and we're on the other, and we're not on the same. So, yeah, there's no way that we can just allow this to happen in this country or any other. And I don't think this is specific to our country. I think this is most countries in the world at this point. Unfortunately, they're predisposing and pre-picking whoever wins. So, I don't know. I think that there's some pushback that needs to happen. There's certainly some information that we need to take advantage of, and we need to start doing stuff that's important to us and pushes back on both this narrative and the way that things are being handled. With that being said, there's an election show in the pipeline. I was going to do it closer to when we started voting again so that we could. I got one, dog mama, relax. I was going to start doing it a little bit closer so you know what to look for, what kind of things they're doing, and what kind of shit they're trying to perpetuate. But there will be an election fraud thing after everything gets put together and we get closer to election season. So I appreciate you for sending that to me, Digger. Hopefully that was a little bit of information. I know it wasn't everything, but there will be a show down the pipe. It will be on Rumble. With that being said, we're going to end the day with little Frenchie that's going on a hike. There's apparently no sound, but this dog is totally into this hike. Hell yeah. It's got a cool tiger backpack. My dog would wear a tiger backpack and looks very similar. It's about what Apollo looks like. So, All right, y'all. That's gonna be it for me. I hope everybody has an awesome evening. Tomorrow will be my 1-year streamabration. We'll be doing it at 8:30. I'll be inviting guests. We'll have a good time, and I hope to see you all there. Until then, have a good night, everybody. Take care.